The awakening storm. The TCS thunderstorm drifted silently through the void, its massive hull gleaming under the light of distant stars. At 2 kilometers in length, the Hurricane-Class Battleship represented humanity's greatest achievement in military engineering, the culmination of decades of technological innovation following mankind's expansion beyond the solar system. Captain Alina Reyes stood on the command bridge, her amber eyes reflecting the holographic display that showed the ship's position at the edge of the Proxima Centauri system. Her weathered face remained composed, but her mind calculated a dozen contingencies at once. The thunderstorm was on its maiden voyage, carrying Earth's hopes and over 3,000 crew members into the depths of space. "Status report," she said, her voice calm but authoritative. Lieutenant Commander Jackson Way responded without looking up from his station. "All systems nominal, Captain. Long-range scanners are picking up unusual radiation patterns near the colony. Definitely not natural, and not matching any known human signatures." Reyes nodded slightly. "First contact protocol Epsilon. I want all hands at ready stations but weapons in passive mode. No need to appear hostile until we understand what we're dealing with." The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency. The thunderstorm wasn't just any warship. It was the first of its class, untested in actual combat, but carrying enough firepower to reduce a small moon to rubble. Its experimental quantum fold drive allowed it to cross vast distances faster than any human vessel before it, and its adaptive shield technology represented the cutting edge of defensive systems. But what made the thunderstorm truly unique wasn't its weaponry or defenses. It was its crew. The men and women aboard represented humanity's best and brightest, selected not just for their technical expertise, but for their adaptability, creativity, and psychological resilience. Qualities that had allowed humans to survive and thrive on Earth for millennia, and now would be tested among the stars. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission," Communications Officer Leila Mbeki announced, her fingers dancing across her console. "Unknown language, but the AI is working on a translation matrix." Reyes straightened her uniform. On screen. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a being that could only be described as reptilian. Multiple ridge-like structures adorned a head with 4 pupilless eyes that glowed with an inner bioluminescence. The skin was scaled in patterns of deep azure and silver. When it spoke, its voice resonated with harmonic overtones, while the ship's AI provided a rough translation. "Attention, unidentified vessel. You have entered territory claimed by the Keldari Dominion. State your purpose or be eliminated." Reyes didn't flinch. "This is Captain Alina Reyes of the Earth vessel TCS Thunderstorm. We are on a routine patrol of our colony in this system. We were unaware this system was claimed by any civilization other than humanity." The alien's eye ridges contracted in what the crew would later learn was an expression of contempt. "Your primitive vessel poses no threat to the Dominion. The bipedal colony in this system has been deemed an infestation on a world marked for Keldari expansion. Your arrival is inconvenient but inconsequential." The bridge fell silent. "They're scanning us," Tactical Officer Riza Karim reported, his voice tight. "Deep penetration scans. They're cataloging our weapon systems." "Let them look," Reyes replied, a hint of a smile playing at the corner of her mouth. "Lieutenant Way, activate Chimera protocols. Let's give them something interesting to see." Way's fingers flew across his console. "Chimera protocols engaged, Captain. They're seeing our decoy systems only." The Keldari commander's throat sac expanded. "Your weapons technology is primitive. Kinetic-based projectiles and rudimentary energy beams. Your destruction would be a trivial exercise, but we are curious about your species. Your propulsion system shows potential. You have 1 planetary rotation to surrender your vessel and colony. The inhabitants may be permitted to serve as labor class." The transmission cut abruptly. "They've closed the channel," Mbeki reported. Reyes turned to face her crew. "Opinions?" Strategic Operations Officer Valentina Kuznetsova spoke first, her accent thick with contempt. "They've underestimated us, Captain. Their scans detected only our surface weapon systems. The Chimera protocols mask our true capabilities. Their arrogance gives us an advantage. But those ships are formidable." Wei added, "I count 12 vessels, each approximately one-third our size but likely specialized for different combat roles." Reyes nodded, pacing the bridge. "They see us as primitive because they're judging us by their own technological evolution. Tactical. What's your assessment?" Karim studied his displays. "Their vessels show signs of highly advanced energy weapons, but their formations are rigid, almost algorithmic. I don't see the kind of tactical flexibility we train for. They're technologically sophisticated but strategically predictable." "Perfect," Rey said, a wolfish grin spreading across her face. "Because if there's one thing humans excel at, it's being unpredictable." The next 16 hours were a flurry of activity aboard the Thunderstorm. While the Keldari believed the humans were contemplating surrender, Reyes was formulating a battle plan that defied conventional military doctrine. Chief Engineer Maya Patel moved through the engine room like a woman possessed, rerouting power systems and modifying the shield generators according to Reyes's specifications. The weapons teams recalibrated the main cannons while the Special Operations Unit, led by Commander Sasha Ivanov, prepared for a mission that most would consider suicide. In her ready room, Reyes reviewed the plan with her senior officers. "They expect us to either run or fight conventionally," she explained, gesturing to the holographic display of the Keldari fleet. "We'll do neither. Their ships are arranged in a perfect geometric formation because they think in perfect geometric patterns. So we break the pattern," Kuznetsova said, understanding dawning in her eyes. "Exactly," Reyes confirmed. "But first, we let them think they've won." As the deadline approached, Reyes sent a message to the Proxima Centauri colony, encrypted in a way that appeared to be standard but contained specific instructions for the Colonial Defense Force. Then the Thunderstorm drifted closer to the planet, apparently preparing to surrender. The Keldari fleet approached in perfect formation, 12 vessels arranged in a three-dimensional dodecahedron that would allow optimal firing solutions from all ships simultaneously. On the bridge of the Thunderstorm, Captain Reyes watched their approach with calculated calm. "They're exactly where we want them," she said quietly. "All hands, battle stations, activate Prometheus protocol." Throughout the massive ship, crews moved to their positions. In the engine room, Chief Engineer Patil activated a sequence that would have made most engineers recoil in horror, deliberately creating a controlled feedback loop in the quantum fold drive. "Energy buildup at 65% and rising," she reported over the comm. "If we go beyond 90%, we won't be able to contain it." "Understood," Reyes replied. "Hold at 85%. The Keldari commander appeared on screen again, eye ridges flexed in what the crew now recognized as amusement. "Your vessel is moving to comply. How disappointing. We expected more resistance from a species that has spread so far from its homeworld." Reyes looked directly at the alien commander. "We are experiencing some instability in our dry systems. Our quantum technology is experimental. We're having trouble containing the energies involved." This wasn't entirely a lie. The Keldari's eyes pulsed with interest. "Your primitive attempts at controlling quantum energies are noted. Prepare to be boarded." The transmission ended. "They're moving into optimal boarding formation," Karim reported. 5 vessels breaking from the main group. Reyes straightened in her chair. "Time to show them how primitive we really are. Ms. Patel, on my mark." The 5 Keldari vessels closed in, their sleek hulls gleaming with an almost organic quality. They positioned themselves at precise intervals around the Thunderstorm, extending docking apparatuses. "Now, Ms. Patel." In the engine room, Patel pressed a sequence of commands, releasing the contained energy. In 3, 2, 1. The thunderstorm shuddered as the built-up quantum energy was channeled not into the drive system, but into the ship's modified shield generators. For a split second, the massive battleship seemed to flicker out of existence before reappearing. The quantum pulse that emanated from the thunderstorm wasn't visible to the naked eye, but its effects were immediately apparent. The 5 Caldari ships closest to the thunderstorm suddenly lost power, their systems overloaded by the unexpected quantum wave. Direct hit, Karim reported with barely contained excitement. 5 enemy vessels disabled. Reyes nodded, her expression still calm. Phase 1 complete. Begin Phase 2. Bring main weapons online. The thunderstorm's exterior transformed as hidden weapon ports slid open, revealing not the primitive kinetic weapons the Caldari had detected, but advanced photon lances and graviton cannons, technology that humanity had developed but kept secret from the galactic community. Target the command vessel, Reyes ordered. Full power to forward shields. Commander Ivanov, deploy special ops. From the thunderstorm's ventral bay, 6 sleek shuttles emerged, their hulls coated with stealth material that rendered them nearly invisible to sensors. Commander Ivanov led his team toward the disabled Caldari vessels, prepared to board and acquire intelligence directly from the aliens' computers. As the remaining Caldari ships struggled to regroup, the thunderstorm unleashed its first volley. Beams of concentrated energy lanced through space, striking the Caldari command ship with pinpoint accuracy. The alien vessel's shields flared brilliantly before collapsing, allowing subsequent shots to tear through its hull. "Sir," Mbiki called out, "we're receiving transmissions from the colony. They've activated their defense grid according to your instructions." On the tactical display, Reyes watched as hidden defense platforms around the colony activated, catching the Caldari fleet in a crossfire. For a species that relied on perfect geometric patterns, the chaos of an attack from multiple unpredictable vectors was particularly devastating. "Captain," Wei reported, his voice tight with excitement, "the quantum pulse did more than disable their ships. It disrupted their comm network. They can't coordinate their defense." Reyes allowed herself a small smile. Humanity's greatest strength has always been our ability to adapt and overcome, to find patterns in chaos and create chaos in patterns. Press the advantage. All weapons, fire at will. As the thunderstorm unleashed its full arsenal, the holographic display showed the once perfect Caldari formation dissolving into disarray. The storm had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same. Thunder strikes back. The bridge of the TCS thunderstorm erupted in controlled chaos as tactical alerts blared across multiple stations. The remaining 7 Caldari vessels had recovered from their initial shock and were now attempting to regroup into a defensive formation. "They're adapting faster than expected," Lieutenant Commander Wei noted, his fingers flying across his console, attempting to establish a new battle pattern. Captain Reyes nodded, her eyes never leaving the tactical display. "They're intelligent, just predictable. Let's increase the chaos. Deploy gravity mines, pattern Sigma." Throughout the command center, officers executed their duties with practiced precision. The thunderstorm had been designed not just as a weapon of war, but as a testament to human ingenuity, a ship that could think as flexibly as its crew. From concealed ports along the battleship's flanks, dozens of small, nondescript objects scattered into space. To casual observation, they appeared to be mere debris, but as they reached predetermined coordinates, they activated. Localized gravitational distortions rippled through space, creating unpredictable eddies that tugged and pulled at the Caldari vessels. "Captain," Communications Officer Mbiki called out, "Commander Ivanov's team has successfully boarded the disabled Caldari command ship." "Put him through," Reyes ordered. Ivanov's voice came through with the distinctive background noise of a combat environment. "Captain, we've accessed their central computer. The Caldari aren't just here for our colony. They've been systematically mapping all human outposts. This is reconnaissance for a larger invasion." Reyes's expression hardened. "Download everything you can, Commander." We need to understand what we're dealing with. There's more, Ivanov continued. They have some kind of biological weapon designed specifically to target human physiology. There's a research vessel at the edge of the system. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. This wasn't just a border skirmish. It was the prelude to genocide. Tactical, Ray said, her voice cold and precise. Locate that research vessel. Lieutenant Wei, prepare a targeting solution for the longbow. Wei's head snapped up. The longbow, Captain. That's still experimental. So is this ship, Lieutenant, Rise replied. And I'd rather test our weapons than allow a bioweapon to be deployed against our colonies. The Thunderstorm's most classified weapon, the quantum longbow, had never been fired outside of controlled testing environments. It utilized principles of quantum entanglement to deliver a payload that existed simultaneously at the point of firing and the target location, bypassing conventional defenses entirely. As the Keldari fleet struggled against the unexpected gravitational disturbances, the Thunderstorm's main hull began to reconfigure. Massive sections shifted, revealing a spinal weapon mount that ran nearly half the length of the ship. Longbow charging, Karim reported. Power at 30% and rising. On the tactical display, a new contact appeared. A Keldari vessel twice the size of their combat ships, hovering at the system's edge. Target acquired, Wei announced. Configuring quantum signature lock. The Keldari battle fleet, realizing the immediate threat, altered their approach. 3 vessels broke away, accelerating toward the Thunderstorm with weapons blazing. Evasive maneuvers, Rise ordered calmly. Keep the longbow oriented toward the target. The massive battleship moved with surprising agility, its point defense systems automatically engaging to intercept incoming fire. Shield impacts flared across the hull as the Keldari vessels concentrated their attack. Shields at 78% and holding, reported the defensive systems officer. They're trying to overload our forward quadrant. Reconfigure shield geometry, Rise ordered. Random fluctuation pattern. Don't give them a consistent target. As the shields shifted unpredictably, the Keldari weapons fire became increasingly less effective, their algorithms unable to predict the constantly changing defensive envelope. Longbow at 85% charge, Karim announced. Quantum signature locked. Ready to fire on your command. Rice took a deep breath. Fire. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then, a pulse of energy so concentrated it appeared almost solid erupted from the Thunderstorm's spinal mount. The beam didn't travel through space in the conventional sense. It simply existed at the point of origin and the target simultaneously. The Keldari research vessel, over 200,000 kilometers distant, erupted in a silent explosion as the energy pulse materialized within its core. The ship didn't just break apart. It disintegrated at the molecular level. Target. Eliminated, Wei reported, his voice hushed. Even the crew of the Thunderstorm, aware of the weapon's theoretical capabilities, were stunned by its effectiveness. Rice didn't allow a moment for reflection. Recalibrate the longbow for multiple targeting. Prepare to engage the remaining Keldari vessels. Captain, Nabiki interrupted, we're receiving a transmission from the Keldari fleet. It's different from before. On screen, Rise ordered. The view screen displayed a different Keldari than before, older, with more elaborate ridge patterns and deeper coloration. When it spoke, its harmonic tones carried a different quality. Human vessel. The translation came through. I am High Commander Vex Terrell of the Keldari Dominion. The commander you dealt with previously was overzealous in his assessment of your species. Reyes's expression remained neutral. Your forces attacked an established human colony and were developing biological weapons specifically designed to eradicate my species. I would call that more than overzealous. The Keldari's throat sac pulsed in what might have been discomfort, a regrettable misunderstanding. We were merely conducting research. Research that would have led to genocide, Rice countered. Commander Ivanov, Are you still connected to their systems? Yes, Captain, Ivanov's voice came through. I'm streaming their battle plans and bioweapon research to the Thunderstorm now. Rise leaned forward. High Commander, we have accessed your ship's databases. We know exactly what you were planning. The question now is whether the rest of your species shares your research interests. The Keldari commander's eyes pulsed rapidly. You have exceeded our understanding of your capabilities. That was your first mistake, Rise replied. Humanity has survived on a world that tried to kill us at every turn. We've endured disasters, wars, and calamities that would have extinguished many species. We don't thrive despite adversity. We thrive because of it. She stood, straightening her uniform. Here are my terms. The Keldari Dominion will withdraw from this system immediately. You will acknowledge human sovereignty over our established colonies, and you will abandon all research into biological weapons targeting sentient species. Or, the High Commander asked. Or I demonstrate what happens when you push humanity into a corner, Rise replied, her voice steel. The longbow can recharge in minutes, and we have enough power to target every one of your remaining ships simultaneously. The bridge fell silent as the Keldari High Commander considered the ultimatum. Around the Thunderstorm, the remaining alien vessels had ceased fire but maintained their positions. Your terms are acceptable, the High Commander finally responded. But know this, human. The Dominion is vast. This encounter will be studied. Next time, we will be prepared. Ray smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. So will we, High Commander. So will we. As the Keldari fleet began its withdrawal, Rise ordered a comprehensive scan of the colony to ensure no hidden threats remained. Commander Ivanov's team returned with terabytes of Keldari intelligence data that would prove invaluable to Earth's defense planning. In her ready room, Rise composed her report to Earth High Command. The encounter had proven what many had suspected but few had dared hope, that humanity could stand toe-to-toe with advanced alien civilizations, not through overwhelming force, but through adaptability, creativity, and the unpredictable nature that defined the human spirit. The Thunderstorm had been built as a deterrent, a statement that humanity would not go quietly into the cosmic night. Today, it had fulfilled that purpose beyond all expectations. As Reyes looked out at the stars through her viewport, she knew that the galaxy had changed forever. The storm had broken, and in its wake, humanity would forge a new place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as equals who would never again be underestimated. The Hurricane-Class Battleship had been unleashed, and the galaxy indeed trembled. Not from fear, but from the recognition that a new power had emerged, one that defied conventional understanding and refused to be bound by the limits imposed by others. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, and the performance had only just begun.